Well, I would just like to say welcome to everybody to Lake Superior Interfaith Community Church Zoom service on this beautiful day. And welcome to Alan Hufschmeidt, our wonderful speaker today. And you'll be speaking on equanimity, how it appears in your life and work as a ritualist. And
Wow.
yeah, so at this time, if you could all mute yourselves, and then I would like to do the invocation. Okay, I give thanks to Mother, Father, God for bringing us all together as we support each other in the knowing we are directed and supported through the love and power of God. And amen. Okay, and I'd like to read the statement of intent. We are fortunate to have a variety of speakers for Sunday services. And by using guest speakers, we gain wisdom from all those who share. And this is a church where we can worship the God of our own understanding, a place to experience joy and be uplifted, a place where we can gain strength and inspiration to share with all we meet throughout the week. And so we invite you to join us in this celebration of life, to nourish your spirit and to enjoy the company of kindred souls. And so first, I think with that, I would like to ask if there's any announcements. Anybody want to announce anything other than any prayer requests? No hands are flying. Okay.
I have a question.
Okay.
How is Carolyn?
She's doing good, and she should be home within the week as of a couple of days ago, with a hospital bed on the main floor and someone to check on her often, and a mold, what do you call that mold thing? You sit on the toilet, put it in the shower, and she's really feeling good about it. And so that was a couple days ago. I didn't get a chance to call yesterday, but I sure will today. So yeah, so she's doing really good. Yeah.
Laura Whitney, I have a request. Hello.
Hey, Laura.
Thank you for your very kind, good wishes and ongoing prayers. And I have to say, it makes a tremendous difference. So ongoing prayers for my journey through chemo with targeting cancer cells and sparing healthy cells. And I am appreciative. So thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Laura. Okay. I would like to read the Declaration of Principles of our card, right here, if you can see it. Okay. We believe in infinite intelligence. We believe that the phenomena of nature, both physical and spiritual, are the expression of infinite intelligence. And we affirm that the correct understanding of such expression and living in accordance therewith constitute true religion. And we affirm that the existence and identity of the individual continue after the change called death. And we believe in our universal connection in spirit, that there is communication between the spiritual and physical worlds. And we believe that the highest morality is contained in the golden rule: whatsoever we would that others should do unto you, do we also unto them. And we affirm the moral responsibility of individuals, and that we make our own happiness or unhappiness as we obey or disobey nature's physical and spiritual laws. We affirm that the doorway of reformation is never closed against any human soul here or hereafter. And we affirm that the precepts of prophecy and healing are divine attributes contained in all sacred texts. And so with that, I would like to ask Ellen if you would like to do the meditation and your talk, and we'll just say it's yours. Thank you, Ellen.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Carol. I'm delighted to be here. So I'll start with a guided meditation, and I invite you to get as comfortable in your chair wherever you've placed yourself. You might want to have your feet flat on the floor. Your eyes can look inward or downward, or be gently closed. So this will be about 5 minutes. And we're going to start by taking 3 large breaths. And I would ask that we maybe take 4 counts for the in-breath and 6, but adjust it according to your breath. But just a slightly longer exhale to really have the letting go portion. So together we can take, I'll just count 1, 2, 3, 4, and release 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And do that at your own pace a couple more times. Letting in the sweetness and letting the stress exhale. Wonderful, wonderful. Now I'm going to invite you to just let your body be as soft as it can be. And I'll help with a guided relaxation. And I'll start at your head and invite you to bring your attention to your eyes and your forehead and just let go of any tension or efforting, letting your eyes rest in their sockets as gently as possible. And then move your attention down to your jaw, letting that be soft and easy. And then moving down your neck to the front of your chest, and your shoulders, and your shoulder blades. Just an invitation to be as roomy, as spacious, as that to take up as much room in the chair as you can. Letting go of any extra holding or tightness. Letting any tension just slide down your arms and off your fingertips. Just being as easy with your body as it possibly can be. Letting your whole chest area and lungs take room to expand. And your back, release any efforting. Letting your waist just be spacious, letting go of any holding. An invitation to be spacious. Continuing this down through your hips and seat. Taking up, letting your body just expand in the chair where you're sitting. Letting go of any tension through the thighs, down through the knees, shins, and calves. Making any tension just float down towards your feet, down past your ankles, into the floor or the ground, out the toes, the bottom of your feet. Yeah, just let go of the efforting. Letting your body be soft. If you notice any discomfort, you don't have to fix it, do anything. Sit next to it as if you would a friend on a park bench. Let your breath be just as it is. If your mind wanders, gently invite it back. To breathing in sweetness and letting go of stress. And the last thing I'll invite you to do, you can do this with your eyes open or closed, but just move your head over your right shoulder. You can look up at a corner, down at a corner, and bring your head back to center. And then look over your left shoulder to the best of your ability, and then gently bring it back. Now gently bring yourself back into the room. Open your eyes, but bring that same relaxed feeling, just the way you are. Well, I'm so grateful to be here. And as Carol said, my talk is about taking a look at equanimity and how it appears in life and work. My background is former Essentia hospice grief counselor. Did that for 10 years. I continue to be an advocate and counselor for the dying and their families for things like home vigils and green burials. I've been a ritualist most of my adult life, creating ceremonies for people. And I'm now a budding anti-racist too. So my talk today is just about how this works in my life. But probably I should start with a little bit of definition. What does equanimity mean, and how does it appear in different roles we play in our lives? I'm interested in sharing with you how equanimity has affected my life and work in the world. Equanimity is a wisdom practice. It comes from the Buddhist tradition, or that's where I learned it. As a Buddhist, it's a part of the 4 divine abodes, which are the altruistic values or boundless qualities of Buddhism. And the 4 include the practices, and many of these you might have heard of: loving kindness, that is always applied first to ourselves and then as others. We do that by offering wishes of safety, happiness, well-being, and ease as we go through our life. The second is compassion. The third is joy. And the 4th is equanimity. All of these things are for ourselves and others. Equanimity can mean many things, like balance, non-judgment, finding a landing spot in between 2 extremes. It's the practice to find middle ground between opposites, like good versus bad, right versus wrong, gain versus loss, or honor versus dishonor. It can also mean trying to let go of trying to control things, like our nature, our moods, our future, our health. I think you understand what I'm talking about. There are also 2 visual metaphors that are used in the Buddhist tradition that can help explain equanimity. One is the image of the strong mountain that endures all kinds of weather. And the second one is the resilient bamboo that can be both extremely strong and can also bend and move in a storm without breaking. Working with equanimity can look like all of these definitions, but it will look very different depending on the situation. To be out of balance, uncentered, or inflexible can make us feel uncomfortable, take things personally. And if this continues, eventually it can lead to deep suffering. We have to accept life and pain, but the suffering is optional. That's when we're really hard on ourselves. It's a lot of work to be out of sync with ourselves or the world. Spending an extended amount of time on either side of balance brings stress to our bodies, minds, and heart. You might want to think about a time you found yourself judgmental, inflexible, or very harsh with yourself. Maybe you can even recall how your body felt. Was there a sense of tightness or gripping in the body? If there was, after a while, that gets very tiring. So today I have a series of brief stories in which I hope to elucidate the many ways equanimity, or the lack of it, manifests. They are not in any particular order. But I will start with a short Buddhist story often used to talk about equanimity. It's called the farmer's story. It's one that I really like. I've heard it many times. Here it goes. An old farmer had worked his crops for many years. One day his horse ran away. Upon hearing the news, his neighbors came to visit. "Oh, such bad luck," they said sympathetically. The farmer replied, "Maybe." The next morning, the horse returned, bringing with it 3 other wild horses. "How wonderful," the neighbors explained. "Maybe," replied the old man. The following day, his son tried to ride one of the untamed horses, was thrown and broke his leg. The neighbors again came to offer their sympathy for what they called his misfortune. "Maybe," answered the farmer. The day after, military officials came to the village to draft young men into the army. Seeing that the son's leg was broken, they passed him by. The neighbors congratulated the farmer on how well things had turned out. "Maybe," said the farmer. To help us process this story, I'd like to ask you 3 questions. I'll only have time for a few responses, so I hope you'll just call out popcorn style. The first question is, in 1 to 3 words, just a few words, what stood out for you as you heard this story? As a way of example, I'll start out. What comes back to me is the neighbor's response. How about for any of you?
I like that.
The farmer's acceptance of everything.
The farmer's
Mhm.
of everything. Yeah.
Yeah, I was very open-minded to absolutely everything, allowing the blessings to come.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, what emotions came up or associations came up as you heard this story?
Oh, there's always a choice. There's always a choice. And you get to make a choice.
Yeah, I think what came up for me the first time I heard this, or every time, is always a bit of surprise.
Yes, a surprise choice.
Anybody else? Oh, please put on your unmute yourself.
Okay.
Patience came up for me.
Patience. Yeah. Yeah. So now we've
Here's one.
yeah.
Just kind of the emotional roller coaster that the neighbors had. Oh, it's good. Oh, it's bad. Oh, it's good. Oh, it's bad.
Right.
Which is the opposite of equanimity.
Yes, exactly. So that leads me right to my 3rd question. What do you think the story is saying about being equanimous?
being
About what?
aware of all the possibilities or allowing the possibilities to come.
Being in
Yeah,
the
the
present moment.
Being in the present moment, just staying with what is. Mm-hmm. At first, I related to the busy bodies of the neighbors. I was like, oh my goodness, what are they saying now? But in the end, I really liked the calm, wait and see attitude of the farmer, responding without reacting.
The non-judgmental reaction of the farmer.
Yes, yes, just letting it be.
Mhm.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to offer you that story because it's pretty easy to remember. And it's just called The Farmer's Story. So thanks. I think you got the point I was trying to make with that story. Now I'll kind of continue on with these examples. And this one's from my own life. This idea of equanimity within myself has been pretty challenging concept to integrate into my heart and mind. Most of my life on the inside, I felt less than others. I tried to not let this show, but it caused me to not take risks, to shy away from goals. I felt bad that I wasn't a nicer person. And it also led to feelings unworthy and I would feel depressed. I suffered quite a bit from this tendency. When feeling lesser than others, I coped by trying to feel better than others whenever I could. I would be desperate for praise. I still sometimes go begging for praise, but experience has taught me that when I get into this dualistic relationship of better than or less than with others, there's not enough praise or reward to fill that empty pit in my stomach. It's exhausting work, and I get sick and tired of begging. Over time, I've found a middle way. It's like finding that place that water always comes to rest in, the middle of two extremes or two high points. I have to give up or let go of this unending need for praise for a long-term contentment of being able to appreciate myself from within, for an inner voice that says, I'm okay just the way I am. Of course, I love the highs. Maybe others of you can relate to that. But the low feelings become, for me, debilitating. Don't get me wrong, I love praise in moderation, but being on the constant hunt for it is awful. Another example of working with equanimity just comes from our current day situation. Today, our country is deeply divided and polarized. It's sometimes easier to pretend COVID doesn't exist than to change our behaviors by wearing a mask and staying home, even though the price may be illness or death. On the other hand, we may experience tightly held beliefs that others don't share. On the one hand, living each moment in fear, taking every precaution so seriously, may feel as if we can't breathe. It's not even healthy to be that tight. Making the effort to face these dichotomies with sincere reflection and finding a balanced path that takes in consideration the larger community's welfare, as well as our own, will outlive any extreme. It takes practice, and a lot of self-compassion to stay out of extreme behavior, like withdrawing, screaming. I've been known to do that, shouting. I certainly have been known for blaming others. But it actually takes a great amount of courage to find and commit to a middle way. Often it requires compromise and good communications, but the rewards are inherent. if we make the effort. In my hospice work of death and dying and grief counseling, I see the hard and heart-wrenching work it takes to let go of our loved ones. Sometimes we push away or hold on so tight to our emotions that we never get a chance to become aware of our relationship to our own feelings or for those who are dying. For example, we'll ignore or resist certain feelings because they're too close. We can get so tied up in the task of caregiving that we forget to be present in our own relationship with the dying person. I had a very memorable experience with a middle-aged man in hospice who was filled with so much controlled rage and anger that his family decided they could no longer visit him. The day I saw him, there was a team of caregivers in the facility who were changing out his mattress, trying to make him more comfortable. He was swearing at them and flinging his arms as he declined all their attempts to help him. He declined everything, all their offers of comfort or medication. And when I tried to introduce myself, he just ignored me. As he verbally threw out everyone in the room while flailing his arms, I decided to try something new. I sat in the chair at the end of the bed in the corner quietly. I did not make eye contact for fear that he would see me and insist that I leave too. After a few minutes of listening to him scream and shout for help, he would only then refuse as he had done just moments ago. I started to do the only thing I could think of, shower him with love. It was my attempt to bring some balance into the scene. In a very soft voice, I started with a simple guided relaxation meditation, very much like I offered you today. Then I continued with spiritual phrases of loving kindness, compassion, and forgiveness. I kept repeating these phrases for a half hour or so. I would only glance at him as to not attract his attention. What I noticed was that his flailing reduced. He was resting easier and shouting less. The last time I glanced his way, I saw that his hands were resting on his body and he was silent. Oh, I had a sense of relief. I thought for sure he had fallen asleep, which is what I had hoped would happen. So I slipped away, leaving instructions with the nursing staff to check in with him in 15 minutes. So when I returned to my office, I got the message that he had died. I realized that he may have died while I was present. I got chills up my spine. This was an experience of grace. I called the family to tell them that their son died relaxed. The man had gone from rage to acceptance and found peace. I never knew if he heard me or he didn't. But for me, this was an example of equanimity, like the image of being like bamboo weathering a storm. As a budding anti-racist, which just means that I'm waking up very late in life and looking at social justice today, I found myself woefully lacking in equanimity. I am learning again and again how I have been ignorant and unaffected by how mine and others' white privileged upbringings have passively allowed racism to continue. Every time I wake up to this unconscious racism that goes unchallenged, I realize I contribute to the systemic oppression of BIPOC people, meaning Black, Indigenous, people of color, bisexual, and transgendered human beings too. This awakening gives me a sick feeling in my gut. In processing this feeling, I found this helpful idea from Ibram Kendi, author of How to Be an Anti-Racist. There is no such thing as a not racist idea, only racist and anti-racist ideas. A racist idea is any idea that suggests one racial group is inferior or superior to another racial group. An anti-racist idea is that there is nothing right or wrong with any racial group. How does this work with equanimity? When we see or respond to any group of people as inherently more or less than ourselves, we create an unending chain of suffering. Today, more than ever, I ask myself, how can I act with equanimity? The wisdom to live in harmony with others and the world is essential. Not to deny what lies squarely in front of me, but make a practice of how I could view this situation or condition with more equanimity, less judgment, so that everyone can thrive. When I face my own racial privilege, in those instances, are like the mountain, trying to stay strong in face of internal and external pressure not to. How can I stop paying the price of one-sidedness? When I stop being aware and mindful of what is really happening, that's when there will be spiritual pain sooner or later. When I stop being aware. With each idea where we perceive ourselves to be better, above, or ignore another, there is the price of damage to our own soul and harm to someone else's. These ideas that we are so close to, we can't see them because it's like trying to notice the air we breathe. But I suggest you start with the opinions you are aware of and gently notice where you are having sensations in your bodies. Does your body temperature change? Does your voice get louder? Do you retreat into isolation? How are you relating to these body sensations? Let your body be your guide. Ask yourself, is this an attitude of wholesomeness and calm, or anxiety and distress? As a ritualist, I often looked at my work from the perspective of transition, with the image of a need to close one door so that another door can open. In many ways, this becomes an act of equanimity because it brings some concept or behaviors in closer balance with our values. This is a process of letting go of something old and no longer useful in order to bring in something new and refreshing. A course correction, if you will. Coming back to our present time of COVID is a good example. Many people are overwhelmed when someone dies, and we can't have the same kind of funeral arrangements we are used to. We can easily get upset with having a preferred choice taken from us. However, this gives families an opportunity to use some technology, such as Zoom like we're using today. In the beginning of the pandemic, many people postponed a funeral for hope of a quick return to normal. But as we all know, this has not happened. Delaying or not having a funeral is often detrimental to the grieving process. People are learning that important rituals can happen across the airways. Maybe we can't hug someone, but we can hug ourselves. It's still a calling together of all those involved. In fact, people who may have been prevented from attending an in-person event before because of age or illness, they can now do so on Zoom. They can still be, or there can still be focused attention by way of words coming to us in the comfort of our own home. There can still be music. I've been on Zoom when we're singing with the mute button off or even on. There can still be a showing of pictures. With Zoom, individuals can also make memory altars that can be shared visually. Equanimity also can enhance the ability to make choices that are inclusive, not by closing down the heart and mind because of grasping at something from the past. So in closing, I leave you with these questions. How has equanimity already been helpful to you in your life? And how does your body and mind feel about that as you remember these instances? How has your body and mind felt when you don't have equanimity and you're upset? What do you notice in your body then? Does it cost you? Remember, I mentioned earlier about body temperature, heat in the body, tense muscles maybe in your shoulder. Once your body can feel, this is a little tip, once your body can feel or register pain or tension, it automatically lets it go. Oh yeah, there's that tight shoulder again, and my shoulders relax. So I want to open our space for questions, comments, or anecdotes. And I'd love to just hear what you think about some of these things, what some of your own experiences have been. So again, just turn on your mics. I think we're all experienced enough that we can just speak out if we have something to say.
It was great to help balancing the life of spirit. And it's how do we balance our body, emotions, heart, mind, and spirit to be the best that we've always been, to be the higher spirit that we've always been too, because in balance you can feel your own spirit and share that with everyone. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Jerry.
In this last year, I've learned a lot more about gratitude than I ever knew before, and how important it is and how it opens the gates to talking to the divine. And there is no gratitude when there is something wrong attached to something. When we're judging it as bad, there is no grace there. So what I have learned and what helps me the most is to fill my cup first of gratitude and love for myself unconditionally. I mean, no one's perfect. And from there, it spills out very easily and non-judgmentally. That was a very big lesson for me.
Thank you for sharing that. It's so important that we start with ourselves. And it's an old, probably worn out example, but in an airplane, you are instructed if the air pressure goes down and you're traveling with young children, put the mask on yourself first. Because if you don't, and the child survives and you don't, there's no one there to take care of the child. We have to fill our own needs first, and then it just spills over the way Nancy
described it. It really does. It's a wonderful lesson to learn. It really does. There's a quote I really like. I don't know if I can remember it exactly, but it's fill each other up from the top of your cup, not the bottom.
Oh, lovely.
Like it. Thank you. Okay.
Carol Condrath, do you have a picture for us today?
I do. Okay, I'll just be quick because I don't know. It's very light colors.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Lovely.
Kind of, well, equanimity is not always facing forward. It's being within all of us together. It's kind of what this image says to me right now.
Beautiful.
Yeah, thank you. That's wonderful.
Hey, Carol, you should do something like make a, you make these with most all this of the talks that we have. There should be like maybe a calendar that you put out for this.
There
I think
is
it would
in
be
our
cool.
hearts, right? It's
Suggestion.
wonderful to do. It's a fun thing. This, like you say, Zoom has brought in many things, and it lets me do this. So it's great. Appreciate it.
Yeah, it
When we
seems
go
like
back to church,
Hi,
Carol, when we go back to church, bring all your art supplies to church and do it there. I would love to see
Yeah,
that.
good. And the same with the breathing. I like to move, so sometimes we can shut ourselves off. I think the Zoom is. I don't know if I'll go back to church. I'd like to play, but you're right, Cindy. I can do it there too.
No, I'm just saying it'd be fun to see.
Yeah.
Well, and do I,
Carolyn Sheets, look at you.
Sheets is here. Yay, Carolyn.
Hey, Carolyn! Yay!
Woo!
You
At
made
some
it.
point, I'd like to pray for you, Carolyn, with everybody before we end.
I'd like to say that, Ellen, it was a beautiful message, and it is what I'm needing to practice, though I wasn't using the word equanimity, because there's so many unknowns. Here, moving from the rehab center more quickly than I would think, maybe by the end of the week, I'll go to my home, and the unknowns are so many that I can only set them down. And I can only go moment to moment or day by day. And so it's a very big lesson. And I appreciate the vivid stories and vivid words you gave us. Thank you very much.
well, may you be like the farmer. Maybe.
Thank you, Ellen, for being here and for your beautiful message. And it just puts things more in perspective, even in my life. Each moment, I just have to keep remembering. So it's all good. Thank you for being here.
Thank
So, if anybody else want to comment, anything?
Helen,
Otherwise,
I just wanted to ask Ellen if she remembered my mother, Henrietta.
Yes, because my mother's name is Henrietta.
Oh my gosh.
So I did remember that. Tell me, where was she? Was she at home or
She was.
I place it? Okay.
She was at home and I was there. And when you talked about the young man passing in front of, not even knowing if he passed, well, you were there. I was there and I was able to witness the glow that she had around her as she passed.
Yes.
And it was amazing.
It's such an important moment. Many people actually want to leave the room when someone dies or just before they die out of fear. It's not a common experience. We don't have it very often. But for those who do stay, can be an amazing, remarkable experience.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm a hospice nurse and I pronounce people dead all the time. And often when I go there, I always make sure that I tell them that they are dead because I don't think everybody knows it. Sometimes it's fast and they linger and they don't know what's going on. So it's like a helping,
Yes.
tell them how great they are. They don't need to stay here and then look for the light. And for a long time, I would say, and give us a smile when you find that light so the family knows you got there. And out of 20 sometimes I did that, there was at least 8 people that from Stone Dead gave us a big smile.
Yes.
Isn't that just incredible?
The body naturally
Mhm.
relaxes, and
Relaxes.
that brings forth a smile. And for family members to see that, it's very heartening.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm. It's a beautiful thing.
Very touching.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Okay, well, anybody else would like to say
Yes.
something? Good.
Yes, Carol, I actually wanted to thank you for all you have been doing. And I wanted to thank Lita and Laura for bugging me to come because I kept saying, I'm getting tired of doing things on Zoom. But thank you so much for doing this. I've been feeling very, very grateful for this opportunity to connect with you. So I love you guys.
Thank you,
All of
Wendy.
you.
Back, welcome back.
Yeah, welcome, Wendy. So good to see you, Wendy.
It's good to see you, Carol.
Zoom is just great. I mean, we have to bring this to our church when we open. I mean, so everybody
Okay.
all over can come. I mean, that's my focus somehow. That's a visual of mine. It's like, so, all right.
Carol asked me
Here's
if,
another.
go
This
ahead.
is Laura Whitney. Sorry. Ellen Hufschmeidt. Thank
Yes,
you.
I'm so
Thank you.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Because, well, you
Yeah.
help people on all levels and you've helped me. And this was very, very nice. Thank you.
You are so
Right.
welcome, and may your healing go well.
Mhm.
Thanks.
Thanks. Give
Right.
it appreciation.
Okay.
I told Carol that she asked me if I wanted to give a benediction, and I said I would. And in my tradition, it's called sharing the merit. So if there's no other comments, I'd be happy to do that now.
That would be fine. If you like, let's do it.
Okay. Well, thank you for this precious time we've had together. And by being together and sharing our experiences, we have made quite a large amount of energy. And may we dip into this energy, this merit of goodness, and take what we need for ourselves, apply it to ourselves like a salve, and then be willing to share it, and it joins with this good energy that other people who are gathering today and sharing from their heart are also giving. So all that extra energy, merit that we can share with the world, please pass it on to friends and family, those that are close, far away. Let it spread into the community in which the communities in which you live, in the state. Let it spread like water to the whole country. We certainly need it, and to the whole world, whether it be across oceans or across land masses. May it go to all sentient beings, animals, all living beings, plants, animals, fish, birds. May this loving energy be there. May it offer safety and protection, happiness, strength and health, and ease and joy. May it help all of us accept who we are, just the way we are. Namaste.
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 Thank you.
Ellen,
Thank you.
just have a
Thank you.
couple more
Thank
things.
you.
I would like to thank everyone for their donations to the church, and we are grateful. And just feel free to send your support to 1414 East 9th Street, Duluth 55805. I'm there almost every day, checking the mailbox, almost, at least 6 days a week, it seems like. Okay, and now I would like to say the church affirmation. We totally accept the belief that God is in charge of the affairs and direction of LSICC, Lake Superior Interfaith, and we know that as our thoughts of this trust and joyful anticipation join in harmony with the thoughts of all the members of this fellowship, we attract the right ministerial leadership to our spiritual community, and we are
Grateful.
and amen.
Amen.
Thank you, everybody,
Mhm.
for being here. Thank you, Ellen. So,
Thank you, Ellen, and everybody.
Thank
Oh.
you.
okay,
Thanks,
so,
everybody.
Good to see
okay.
the old friends. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all. Nice to see you all again. And
Hi, Harley. How's the
Hi,
weather, Harley?
Harley.
Okay. I would like
Great.
to ask our board members to stay on after so we can just chat for a little bit. And so that'd be awesome. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Everybody.
Thank you, Ellen.
Thank you.
Alrighty.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank
Bye-bye now.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Wendy.
So,
And do you want me to stop the recording?
yes, yeah.